Good morning, happy birthday to you, even if it's not your real birthday, and happy Tuesday, because today is the first day of the rest of your life, and what a time it is to be alive as well. Every day is your birthday if you choose to celebrate life, and why wouldn't you want to celebrate life? Because you're alive, you have a device in your hand, you're watching me, it's wonderful. Even if you feel like it's rubbish, there are things in your life that you can enjoy, that you can celebrate, that you can be grateful for. We talk about that every day on this call, and we will talk about that more today. In fact, we will talk about reducing some of the pressure in your life today, because we'll be talking about if you don't prioritize your life, somebody else will. My phone just glitched then. It's interesting. Today, we're going to touch on thank you as well to a lady called Tamara Norwood, who I've just rediscovered this morning. Not that I lost her, I just forgot her name and couldn't remember how to get hold of her and didn't remember who she was. And we did a fantastic technique back in March of last year, just before I started doing these lives, so I want to touch on that a little bit later as well. But first of all, let's say happy birthday to the people whose real birthdays it is today, and do our breathing exercise as well. So happy birthday to Martina, Linda Barber. Hope you're well, Linda. Hope life is treating you and the children well. Tom Wright, magician. Martyn Sloman, can't remember what you do, Martyn, but hello again. Steve McDonald, who makes beer in Bristol. How's that going, Steve? Is life treating you all right with coronavirus stuff? I don't know. And of course, the very beautiful, the very lovely, the very amazing, such a deep, close personal friend of mine, Roslyn, who was such a very special part of my life in 2016. Just after the whole chance encounter episode, which will be the topic of my book. Ros, you might actually, in fact I know you definitely will get a chapter in the book named after you. Why not? I'm going to name the chapters with girls' names, and there definitely will be a chapter in there for you, Ros, because yes, you were a very special part of 2016 for me, and special part of my life ongoing forever now. So anyway, there you go. Extra special happy birthday to you, Ros. I hope you're well. Breathing exercise. Okay, so what's the one thing you're going to get done today? Blow out the candle. Breathe in 5 through your nose. Put his hand on your heart. Hold your breath while you light the candles on your left hand, and then blow out the candles on your left hand. And wish happy birthday to those people, but also think about the one thing you want to get done in the next hour or the next 24 hours, depending on how often you do this. Then think about what did you get done in the last 24 hours, or what have you been focusing on in the last 24 hours, basically, and do the same thing again. And what's made you smile in the last day? Last 24 hours or the last hour, and what are you grateful for in the last hour? So the same thing again with each of those. Do it a little bit slower than that, so because you really want to get that breathe, so you really want to do the breathing in through the nose as much longer as you can in your lungs. Hold for plenty of time, and then breathe out. And then breathing through those. You get the idea. Anyway, happy birthday to you, Martina, Linda, Tom, Martyn, Steve, and Ros. Okay. Now we're going to start off by talking about the Tamara thing, and then we'll get on to if you don't prioritize your life, nothing else will. Because part of the thing that Tamara taught me was about prioritizing yourself and understanding your connection to the rest of the world. Now, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about meditation, and I'm going to go over meditation again in another future one of these talks. But this was a particular type of meditation, and what we basically did, if I've remembered this right, and tomorrow please come back to me and tell me if I did this slightly wrong, because I'd love to do this. And actually, I don't know if you've got a recording of this or something you could give to people. Maybe that's something that you should add to your repertoire, a freebie giveaway kind of thing, because this is such a cool idea. Okay, so the idea is you close your eyes and you imagine that there's a light. Again, I'm sure about the start is completely wrong, but imagine a beam of light is coming down and coming inside your head and filling your body with light. So you are, it's probably better to think it's not inside, coming into your head. It's probably better to think it's coming from your heart, from your soul. That when you do that thing with your breathing your hand, and you put the hand on your heart, imagine you've got to really bundle that joy inside you, that something inside you, the burning desire. Imagine you're a child and you've got this unlimited imagination and joy about life and living, and just imagine that's inside your heart, and it's bubbling up to get out, and then fill your body with this beautiful thought, this beautiful joy. Fill it every single part of your body, and just feel the childhood fun that you had as a child. Fill your body up, and then feel that light. Just imagine that light just coming outside of your body slightly, and then just imagine it just touching onto the things around you. So the tree around me here, for example, and the trees behind me, and the branches above me, and the phone in front of me. Just imagine that, just that light of your soul, your joy, your beauty, the best parts of yourself, all just touching those little things just outside you. And then imagine it filling the room that you're in, or obviously in my case, a sort of little area that I'm in here. Just imagine it filling the room, and then imagine it going outside of the room. Just imagine that light just percolating through the walls and going into the house that you're in, and with your loved ones who are in the house. And if there's no loved ones in the house, the people in the houses next to you, or the places next to you, basically the next nearest people to you. Just imagine that light going out to them. Even if you hate them, doesn't really matter. Just imagine that beautiful light touching them, and imagine them just kind of suddenly just feeling this beauty, this love, and thinking, I wonder where that came from. So imagine they've had this little bright light of joy that's just hit their head, and it's just overwhelmed them with this beauty and joy and love. And then just go out a little bit further and say, okay, so now let's allow that to go a little bit further out into, I'll work out if it's raining or not. It seems to be. It seems a bit too bright for that. I guess it's pollen anyway. Imagine that light is coming, going out even further, and now going into your neighbourhood and your neighbours and the town that you live in. Imagine it filling the whole town that you live in, or the place that you live in, and touching every single person in that whole building, and all the animals in there and all the creatures in there. Imagine your light is touching all of them and making them feel a moment of joy and just unexpected, I suddenly feel fantastic. What's happened there? Suddenly this warm glow of something that's just touched them as it went out to them. And then imagine it going out further than that to the next town nearest to you, the nearest town to your town or your village or whatever it is. And then going out to the cities, the bigger cities around where you live, and every single person in all those villages, and the forests in between, and then the whole country that you live in. Fill out that whole country, and then the next country nearest to you, and then fill out the next country nearest to that, and then go out to the whole world, and then fill the whole world with your joy and your light. Imagine every single person on the planet is feeling your joy and love, and that are being touched by you. And then imagine that light coming from the earth and then going out into the world. We talked about satellites before and space and so forth. Imagine that light going out into the space and into the world and the whole universe, and touching the planets, the next planets, Mars on one side and Venus on the other side. By the way, I've got a really cool way of remembering all the planets, by the way. I'll talk about that in a minute if I remember. So yeah, out to Mars, and then out to Mercury, and then to the Sun, and then out to Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and then Neptune, and then Neptune, and then Pluto. I think that's the way it works, if I remembered it right. I've got a great way of remembering it, haven't I? Anyway, and then just fill that whole universe with your light and your joy. And then once you've done that, then start bringing it all the way back to you as well. Imagine that, all that light coming back inside, and all that joy that you've touched, all the biddies of the whole universe and the earth, and everybody on the earth that you've touched, every single human that you've touched, and every animal on the earth, and every creature and every living thing on the planet, and then every country around you, and then the country that you live in, and then the cities in your country, and then the towns nearest to you, and then your town that you live in, and then the little neighbourhood that you live in, and then just to your house, and then back into you, and then fill your whole body with all of that joy and all that love that you've touched everything else with, and then just feel this amazing abundance of joy and light and love, and feel amazing. So yeah, I'm not sure if I did that right tomorrow, but even if it's not, I love that technique, and I'm going to stick with that. So for myself, at least, anyway. I may modify it over time as I think, I've got a better way of doing that, or a better way of talking about that, or something. So, but that's the first time I've done that since, properly, at least anyway, since talking to Tamara back in March of last year, March of 2020. Just when the pandemic hit, didn't it? Anyway, that's about 10 minutes now, and I haven't even gotten to the main topic I wanted to talk about today, which is prioritising you. If you don't prioritise yourself, somebody else will. And this is all about making decisions and choices about your life. So you've just done that exercise where you felt like you've got this joy, this beauty inside yourself. Even if you're struggling with things like depression or anxiety or whatever, you still have that beauty and love and joy that you used to have as a child still inside you, that's still part of your soul and that soul being. What's happened to you is you've layered on top of that negativity and things that have happened to you, experiences, rules that other people have things, horrible things that other people have done to you, and you've just taken all that on board and you've created this kind of like this don't want to make it too haggard, but it's kind of haggard outside kind of look. It's like, oh, this whole ugh that you don't like. And bear in mind, this is people who are struggling with depression and anxiety. You've got this whole sort of, I don't like myself, I don't like my life, don't like what's going on in my life, it's all horrible. But deep underneath all that, underneath all those layers of ickiness, there's a soul, there's a beauty, there's a joy, which is what I found and what I discovered. And which is why I no longer struggle with depression and anxiety anymore, and those panic attacks and the suicidal thoughts that I had back in 2016, before I re-met Chance, and then before I spent time with Ros and the girls, and then really just found my peace with the world, I suppose you could say. Yes, it's amazing. You don't know this stuff, Ros, but that time I spent with you was so transformatively beautiful for me. It really meant a lot in my life. So anyway, there you go. Especially with spending time with the girls and just all three of you, really, just that whole home life thing. I just realised how much I wanted that in my life at some point in the future. So I hope one day I will meet a beautiful lady with whom that will all happen. Even though I know I'm getting on a bit in life now and I'm starting to run out of time a little bit, but that's always been my kind of joy and my deep soul desire, and also to help change people's lives and make people feel better and loved and all that sort of stuff. That's my joy, my love that I like to give out into the world, is to give my love out to the world, and make everybody else feel loved as well. It's my highest kind of thing, as it were. So regarding prioritizing your life, you have to understand who you are and who you like and who you love and what you love as well in your life, and then you can then start to make decisions about your life, about what's your priorities, where you're going to draw the lines, where you're going to put your boundaries, and then decide what you want to cut out of your life and what you want to change about your life, so that you can start saying no to the things that don't enrich you and don't love you, don't light you up, don't make you feel amazing, and start saying yes to the things that do make you feel amazing and make you feel good. And also in your life as well, just the clutter, the stuff in your life that you've maybe said yes to. There was a really kind of cool thing I heard this morning about somebody saying, if you go to your wardrobe and you want to declutter your wardrobe, and you pick something out of your wardrobe and you have this kind of, you ask a bad question basically, and you say to yourself, will I ever wear this shirt again? And it's a bad question, because yes, you can think of a reason why you might wear this shirt again. But that's not the question you should be asking yourself. That's a bad question, because you probably end up doing that with everything in your wardrobe, because at some point you thought it was good to wear. So you probably would think, well, maybe at some point in the future I'll think it's good to wear again. A better question would be, do I love this? Does this fill me with joy? Does this fill my soul with love and joy? Just like we talked about there. This is a Marie Kondo thing, or Marie Kondo. If it doesn't fill you with joy and doesn't make you feel amazing, decide, cut it out of your life. Deciding is cutting, so it's off, cut. That's what it is, decide. That's where the origin of the word comes from. But it's just basically decide you don't want that in life. Say no. Start to say no more. Start to understand why you're saying no as well, though. That's kind of important. Because you need to ask yourself really, really good questions about the things in your life and the people in your life to a certain extent. You don't necessarily have to cut them out of your life. You can just cut out the amount of time you spend with them. And this is one of the 15 pillars on my Freedom Cube, thefreedomcube.com, by the way, if you want to go and check that out. And of course, what I also teach in my 7-day Kickstarter, and of course, my 6-month Rewire Your Brain, Get Off Antidepressants and Live a Life You Love challenge, course, thing, whatever. So yeah, that's one of the pillars. Is who are you hanging around with? Who are you hanging around with? Who are you spending the most amount of time with? Who are you spending the time with? Are they people you love and enjoy and that sort of stuff? And if they're not, then you don't necessarily have to cut them out of your life completely. Just cut the amount of time you spend with them, or the amount of time you spend talking about certain subjects with them, and then you can start to say no to the things that you hate and yes to the things that you love, and you can start feeling more of that joy inside your life. Okay, that's all for me. Take care, guys. Have a lovely Tuesday, and I will see you on Wednesday tomorrow. Bye. Have some of my love. There you go. How do I end it? Oh, this.